Welcome to Fireside Gaming. I'm Billum, and this week I'm doing another look at retro game collecting. I've done one of these before, kind of a new little format. Don't expect them to be like too regular or anything like that, because it really just depends on whenever I get out to buy games. But basically, these are kind of like updates to, games I'm collecting, games that might show up on the channel, things like that. So, with that started, this one's going to be a bit smaller, but the first game we're looking at, and they're all PS2 by the way, the first one we are looking at is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And I'm going to be honest, I'm actually not a big Grand Theft Auto guy. In fact, I think, this is the only one I've played, is San Andreas, and I do have fond memories of, basically playing this at night, borrowed it from a friend, played it at night when my parents didn't know, things like that. The typical, growing up in the 2000s as a teen thing. And I picked this up solely because, memories, I remember having fun with it. I'd be willing to check it out again. I don't know if it'll ever end up on the channel. I just don't feel like I've got a lot to add to the Grand Theft Auto discourse. So many other people have played so many games and I've just played this one. But it's something cool that I kind of wanted to talk about. But when it comes to my open world, crazy destruction, bullcrap games, I prefer Just Cause. But, I figured having this one for, going back and playing it just because. And I will note that it does have the disc. I don't know if you guys care to see the condition of the disc. This one's got a couple scratches here or there, but it's in pretty good shape. That's a heck of a look. Pull that away from the light. Doesn't have the manual. I know how to play Grand Theft Auto. It's okay. Maybe I'll find one for it in the future. Not a big deal. So that's the first game. And like I said, we're doing all PS2 this time. Next up, and this one, I want to review this one eventually. We've got Shaman King, Power of Spirit. Now, Shaman King's actually making a bit of a comeback. It's got a new anime, it's supposed to be closer following the manga, but it's not something that I grew up with. Instead, my wife watched Shaman King and read the manga and really enjoyed it, and she got me to watch the original one. I don't know, it's been 4 or 5 years ago, and we sat down and watched the new one that came out and hit Netflix, and it was pretty fun. So I thought, hey, why don't we pick this up and potentially look at reviewing it. It's a turn-based strategy RPG, but when you go into fights, instead of just doing sword swing X damage, it turns into a fighting game. So I don't know if that'll be good. It sounds interesting, but I don't know. We'll have to see. And in this instance, we do have the complete game. It's in a bit of a rougher shape, this manual is. You can see the crease lines up there, and this bent down here and everything. I actually had to fully replace the case. The game and everything else looks fine, by the way. But I had to fully replace this game's case because, no joke, up here it was literally just snapped off, and the only thing holding it on was the clear plastic for the PS2 case. And I was like, I don't like leaving cases like that. I usually buy PS2 game cases that are in pretty good shape. Sometimes I'll buy old sports games that go for $2 or whatever, and then I'll take those cases because they're usually in pretty good shape, and you can get them for dirt cheap. But as a result of that, there is some wear around the bottom here. I don't remember, is that... Yeah, there's a little bit of it on the back as well. But, it really doesn't look bad once you put a new case on it, so not a big deal. And I very much want to check this out for the channel. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Probably soon, since Shaman King's kind of back in the news cycle. So we'll see about that. And our third game that we're looking at today is Onimusha II, Samurai's Destiny. Now, I already have Onimusha 1 and Onimusha 3 and Onimusha Blade Warriors. And I've never played 3. I've beaten 1 lots of times. Same with Blade Warriors. I've played the crap out of that. And I will jump into the Onimusha series eventually. In the case of Onimusha 2, this is a game I had as a kid, actually. I ended up selling it. I just didn't like it. Jubei was not as fun or interesting to me as Samanosuke is, so I never beat it. I played so far in, I kind of got stuck, and I couldn't figure out how to progress, and I just didn't care. I wasn't that invested in it. It doesn't really have much in the way of connections to the first Onimusha. Like, I think the crazy, like, demon doctor guy shows up for a little bit. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure he shows up for a little bit. But I think that's about it in terms of connections between the games. So I will eventually get around to this one, because it's the Onimusha series. I've liked what I've played, and I would like to play through 3, at least to 3. I don't know about Dawn of Dreams. I'll have to see. Also, check that out. A mouth-watering visual feast. PSM. That's like, I had a PlayStation Magazine subscription back in the day, so that just kind of like brings up memories. But, I don't need to nostalgia too hard here. Just know that that is definitely in the books to be played on the channel in the future. Okay, and last up is Final Fantasy XII Collector's Edition. Now, I already own Final Fantasy XII. Like, I have it. I've had it since it came out. Like, pretty much. It was a Christmas gift that year. So, I've had this game forever. And I don't really need the Collector's Edition. In fact, like, even this one might not have been the best one to pick up. There's a little bit of damage there. And if you look on the side here, see if I can get this in focus, there's a little bit of, like, kind of rust damage. I've never seen a steelbook rust, but there's a little bit of kind of rust damage on this, and I don't know, I'm thinking about maybe trying to clean that off, but at the same time, it does look kind of cool for the overall look of the case, so maybe I won't. But either way, this is, you know, it's complete outside of the slight damage on the case. You know, it's in good shape. We've got, you know, the big booklet here, everything you need to know about Final Fantasy XII. We've got the game, and we've got the bonus disc that has a bunch of extra content on it and stuff like that. And I kind of bought this because I'm a sucker for steelbooks, and I think the Final Fantasy XII one looks particularly nice. I think it's really cool. And not to go, like, too hard here, but I'm actually not a big fan of Final Fantasy XII. I'll get into that in a review, I'm sure. I very much enjoyed the story, but the Gambit system is not for me, and it has a few other problems. I don't know, like, I have a lot of conflicting opinions on Final Fantasy XII, and I'll dive into that deeper at another time. Gosh, I'll have to start with Final Fantasy I and work my way up. Expect that someday. I'm actually a really big Final Fantasy fan. I've played through most of them, bar some of the newer ones, but that's something we can talk about. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, just know that my silly love for hard steelbook cases resulted in me buying a steelbook for a game I actually don't like that much, and I've never beaten. I've gotten very close to the end, and then I watched a friend beat it, but I've never actually beaten it. But steelbooks are cool, and because of that, I bought a steelbook of a game I don't really care for. So, either way, that's it. Just 4 games this time, not quite as extensive as the last one, but it'll do. And with that, thank you all for watching, and take it easy.